The Para Cave podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Para Leagues, platinum sponsor Baytech Recruitment, The Corner Post, Wick Coffee, Ashore Strata Reports, Spot On Hose and Fittings, Wine Barrel Event Hire Sydney, Rubbish Removal Kings, and Flash Conveyancing.
Baytech Recruitment. Baytech Recruitment. Where we're gonna find you the perfect match. All the tradies you can think of in any industry. Look out for a wrapped up Mitsubishi. Fridgie, Sparkies, Bombers Plus. Whatever the trade, just give us a buzz. Baytech Recruitment.
Give us a buzz now.
So give Chris a buzz on 0414 922 272 today.
Let's go! Welcome back to another show. Hi, how are ya? It's a Para Cave podcast coming at ya. Turn it up, feel the vibe, blue and gold, step inside the cave. Yeah. Easy try in the corner. Here's your host, Troy Water, coming to you live from the world famous Para Cave.
Hi, how are ya? Or should I say, hi, how are ya? Queensland won game number 2 of the State of Origin last night, 44 points to 24. Very disappointing for us New South Wales fans. Obviously very happy for you Queensland fans. A good win to you guys. That makes the series 1-1. But yeah, very disappointing to lose that game because it started off with so much promise. I thought it was a much better start from New South Wales. They showed that they kicked off for starters, so that kept Queensland down their end a little bit more at the start of the game. A shorter kicking game than New South Wales, and that was a big advantage for New South Wales, was their kicking game from Mitchell Moses, especially in that first half. He could get an extra 5-10 metres kicks in and just put Queensland on the back foot so much more. That didn't happen in the second half, unfortunately, because Queensland kicked off and then they had the advantage. And Mitchell went off in the second half as well. No reports of injury. He is okay. He won't be playing this weekend anyway because Parramatta have got the bye, and he will be back for Parramatta on next Thursday night against South Sydney. But look, it was just so disappointing, especially after that start, and to give up that many points in that second half, just basically capitulated. New South Wales went into the half-time 12-8 in front, but before that, Queensland, they sort of had the first real opportunity to score, but they got a penalty instead, and they go up 2-0. And look, what about the first try of the game to Katoni Staggs? Unbelievable. Obviously, the goal kick from Sam Walker, the penalty goal, has gone over, so they've reformed. And Tom Flegler, he just looked up at the last minute and then he's dropped it. Unbelievable. It was so unbelievable that I even missed it, and I think millions of others of Australians did miss it as well because it was on Channel 9 ads at the time, and by the time they come back to the ads, it was try time. But look, Marky Mark, he was on the spot then. And look, he had a bit of work to do because a turn of strength there. He got the ball to Katoni, who still had a little bit of work to do, but he did score the try. Now, a lot of questions about Katoni Staggs' performance last night. He did get sin-binned in the 63rd minute, and a lot of controversy about that one. It was on Kalen Ponga as well, who got sent off in the first game. People are asking the question, should he have been sent off instead of getting 10 minutes in the sin bin? Well, look, it's for me, I think probably if you're going to set a precedence, I think maybe because Tolu Kula went off in the first game for a HIA, Kalen Ponga didn't in this game. That was probably the only thing that saved him. So it was pretty much identical. He rushed up out of the line and caught him high. Kalen went down, but then he got back up. And it was only a sin binning, not a send off. But a lot of controversy about that one. But and then there's a bit of question marks about Katoni's spot in the team for game number 3. But we'll get into that a little bit later at the end there. Look, the second mistake of the night was Katoni, that man Katoni. He was trying to get the ball out. Well, this was one of his mistakes. He was trying to get the ball out to Marky Mark, now Mark Nwanganitawase, who absolutely blitzed it, I thought, on his debut. Scored 2 tries. His second try, unbelievable. Just a little bit of a dancing sort of stutter step. We'll get into that later, but I thought he was very impressive in his debut game for New South Wales, but on this occasion put Queensland in good field position. Hudson Young, who was probably, I thought, maybe New South Wales' best player, he gave away a penalty for a high shot on Sam Walker, and look, all the forwards gathered in and a bit of push and shove. Because it was like, you're taking on our halfback, our general, and you do that to him, so we're going to take it out on you. So no fights, no punches like the old days, like the old Origin, especially that one down in Melbourne, I think, 1995 was it? Or was it 94? Something like that, I think, back in the early days there. But look, Queensland, they pressured the New South Wales line, but unfortunately then they kicked it out. Well, fortunately for New South Wales, they kicked it out, and New South Wales got a 7-tackle set. That was 26 minutes gone in the first half. The New South Wales rolled up the field then. Cam Murray, he came off on the bench, gets a couple of 6. New South Wales get a couple of 6 agains, and Marky Mark, that man, Mark Nwanganitawase, who is unfortunately going to rugby union next year, should have kept him in the game. The NRL probably should have tried to do a bit more to keep him in the game. I can understand why, though, with a home World Cup in rugby union. Very, very tempting. In fact, Angus Crichton's going there as well. But it was after a kick, I think it was from Nathan Cleary, a bit of a ricochet, I think it was, and then Cleary's just long passed it out to Marky Mark. So, and then Cleary converted that to make it 12 points to 2, 17 and a half minutes to go in the first half. So, look, at that stage, it did look like New South Wales were in control of the game, but there was still a long way to go in this game. Queensland were never going to give up. That is for sure, with the series on the line. So, in fact, 5 minutes later, Queensland score. Look, I must admit, it was one hell of a good try. Being a staunch New South Welshman, it was one hell of a try from Queensland. The ball from Cameron Munster, I don't know how he threw that, to be honest. Then it went through a few hands, and then Trent Liero, he scored basically near the post. So Queensland then got it back to 12 points to 8 with 12 minutes to go in the first half. At that point as well, Cameron Munster had to go off the field with a HIA. A bit of a wasn't quite a head slam. It was probably all in the one motion of the sort of tackle, but he had to go off for a HIA. He was ruled to go off. Now, at that point, it was questioned whether Kalen Ponga would go into the halves and Reece Walsh come on and obviously play that fullback role, which we know he plays, but Ruben Cotter, he came on, so they held Reece back, and he didn't come on the field. So that was a bit unusual, I thought. And Reece Walsh didn't even play. I guess because at that point in time, I think that Queensland were just in control and just scoring points. They didn't need an impact. They didn't need a sparky player on the field. If they were down on the scoreboard, perhaps, probably, then yes, that probably would have been the thing. But Victor Radley as well, geez, he had a couple of penalties late in that first half. A high tackle on Trent Liero. Queensland marched up the field. Also, his teammate Lindsay Collins and Victor Radley, they aimed up against each other. Again, no punches thrown, but it's just interesting to teammates. Well, it is state against state, mate against mate. So, but yeah, it's unusual. It's you wouldn't think that the two teammates would go at it, but I guess this is Origin. You do anything, but Queensland, look, they attacked the line. 7 minutes to go, first half. Short kick from Walker, but it was knocked out by To'o. But it was a knock on from Robert Toya, and so it was New South Wales ball at the end of the half. So look, that was the first half. New South Wales went into the half 12 points to 8. Everything looked hunky-dory. Queensland were on the attack, but late in that first half, and look, as I said before, it was a much better start from New South Wales than game number 1, where they were 20 points down. The second half, New South Wales, they started pretty lucky. They got a lucky charge down call, which wasn't a charge down at all, but as it wasn't played at by Queensland, but in the pursuing plays, Victor Radley knocked on. But then Queensland, they put not the afterburners, but that's when they started to click into gear. That's when they started to get momentum. They scored their second try through Selwyn Cobbo. Now, Selwyn Cobbo scored 3 tries last night in the Origin game. And look, he is in a rare piece of form at the moment. Obviously, his team as well, the Dolphins, are going really well. But he looks leaner, looks faster, and scored some pretty good tries. To score 3 tries in Origin, absolutely amazing. The first of his tries was his third Origin try. And Sam Walker, 7 out of 7, well, you could say 8 out of 8. It was 7 from 7 conversions and 1 penalty goal as well. So perfect with the boot, Sam Walker. They were out wide, they were close to the post, but mostly out wide, these conversions, and Sam Walker just nailed them over. And Sam Walker, look, there was the little bit of comparison of whether he'd be ready for Origin. He's too small, maybe. That comparison to Alfie Langer, but back in the day, 1987, I think it was. But look, he has actually looked like he is a player that has played Origin for 5, 6, 7 years. He just looks so comfortable. A little bit of a shorter kicking game than Mitchell Moses and Nathan Cleary, but he certainly knows how to goal kick, that's for sure. He was nailing them from both sides of the sideline, both sides of the field. He was absolutely nailing them, and Queensland at that point took the lead 14 points to 12. Look, a bit of a scrum play. Midfield scrum. Queensland got one of those. Kalen Ponga fed the scrum and then throws the ball to Cobbo, who scores in the corner for his second try. And then Queensland break out to 18-12, and then obviously Sam Walker kicks it. So 20 points to 12, that 8-point buffer. But then really shortly after that, in fact, 4 minutes after that, they go back to back as Jojo Fafita scores off a Munster kick. It was a perfectly timed He saw out wide. Jojo Trafita could get the ball there. And he took a catch on the MCG, which I think the AFL faithful will be pretty happy about. Obviously up against the smaller man in Brian Toto, which was always an issue. Not going to kick it to the other side of the field with Marky Mark over there, but he took a catch on the MCG that any AFL player will be proud of and scored the try. A loose carry, captain's challenge call on Lindsay Collins, and New South Wales have to score to get back in the game, and that's what exactly they did. They did that through Mark Nitawase, but this was his scoring his second try in the 59th minute, but they needed that to get back into the game, that's for sure, because the points were getting away from them. Queensland, they were controlling the game very, very well. And look, his second try, he had a lot of work to do. New South Wales got the ball out wide. Bit of a stutter step, as I said before. It was looking like he was running out of room, and then just put this move on and scored in the corner. It was absolutely unbelievable. As I said, the NRL should have tried to do much more to keep him in the game. Cleary converts to keep it within 8 points, so still with that 8-point buffer for Queensland. But then the floodgates just open up. Then Queensland scored the next 3 tries. So, Katoni Staggs, this is his sin-binning moment. He actually launches himself at Kalen Ponga and smashes him. Play continues, and the hammer scores after a Cobbo kick. So, not only is Selwyn Cobbo scoring tries, he's putting kicks for his teammates to score tries as well. And it was a nifty little kick as well. I think it was off the right foot, infield a bit. A little bit of a grubber sort of thing, and Hammer was jolly on the spot and scored that try. That was in the 62nd minute, and again Walker converted. That got them to 32-18 with 16 minutes to go, and then New South Wales were a man down with Katoni Staggs in the sin bin. Harry Grant up the middle, as we have always seen. He made a bust, some tired defenders, some tired markers, middle of the ruck, and the big fella, Lindsay Collins, the front rower from the Roosters, he scored a try. It was poor marker work from Ivan Cleary. He actually missed 10 tackles as well during the night as well, so a little bit of a question mark on that one. That got the score at the 38-18. That was 13 minutes, and then Selwyn Cobbo scored his third try. He had a little space after a quick tap on. It was sort of like a tap on from Kalen Ponga to the Hamaso Tapiai Fido, and then to Cobbo. But New South Wales in the end got a consolation try through Mitch Barnett to get a bit of respectability on the scoreboard. I mean, I did say that they would score 24 points, New South Wales, but I also said that New South Wales will win the game 24 points to 20. So I was sort of half right, but nowhere near it, to be honest. I did get New South Wales score right, I just didn't get Queensland score right. But look, congratulations to the crowd in Melbourne. Biggest ever Origin crowd, 91,671 at the MCG. Look, it absolutely looked great on the TV from the air. I was saying to someone today, you don't really see the MCG, I don't think, too much. I mean, I don't watch too much AFL, to be honest, so obviously the AFL play night games there from time to time, but whenever I seem to be watching AFL, or if I ever see any AFL on TV, it's usually during the day, but the only other time you see it under lights is usually the cricket. So it was good to see the MCG packed. Most of the crowd was probably Queensland based and Queensland fans, but nevertheless that was probably always the way, I guess, with Cameron Munster, and what's his name? Harry Grant, the little wizard at hooker for Queensland. They play for the Melbourne Storm, so I guess that was probably always going to be a given. Queensland did have more possession in the game, 55% to New South Wales 45%, about 5 minutes extra in possession. But look, their completion rate was pretty outstanding, 95%, 40 sets out of 42 they completed. New South Wales 80% and 32 out of 40. So only 2 less sets that New South Wales had, but 8 more mistakes in that one. Line breaks 7-2 for Queensland. Tackle breaks. What do we got? I always get confused with this one. Sorry, missed tackles 40 from New South Wales, 30 to Queensland. And look, New South Wales gave away more penalties. Queensland more ruck infringements. 2 on reports for New South Wales. I think that was Victor Radley and Katoni Staggs. Obviously, the sin binning was Katoni. And I think, basically kicking metres. Queensland actually kicked more metres than New South Wales, but I think that was because Mitchell Moses went off in the second half. He has the long kicking game. Nathan Cleary, he has some more of the shorter kicking game. So that's basically the tail of the tape there. When it comes to Blues players, now let's have a little bit of a chat about those, because there have been a lot of questions about who will be selected for Game 3. What is needed to win Game 3 at Suncorp? A decider. I think it's only been done 3 times before. 2024 was the last time. I think the time before that was 2005. And then I think it was 1994, I think, was the only 3 times that New South Wales have won a decider at Suncorp Stadium. So look, they have a lot of work to do. It's going to be very difficult to get this win. 53,000 screaming Queenslanders up there at Suncorp Stadium. It is going to be very deafening, and I've been to one Origin game up there that I think it was 2012, maybe 11, and I've only experienced one Origin game up there, and it was unbelievable. But look, a few questions are being asked about Laurie Daley and his interchange bench. Look, Ethan Strange only played 16 minutes. I thought maybe he may have played a few more, inject him into the game a little bit earlier. One player who didn't play last night was Api Coruscant. I was sitting there watching the game last night thinking, when's Appy going to come on? This would be the perfect time for Appy to come on. Just add that little bit of spark around these big Queensland tired forwards, but he didn't get a run. I'm not too sure why. Adam Fanua-Blake, he got 9 minutes. So, look, that's just 9 minutes from a front rower in State of Origin. I mean, he's basically warmed up, gone on, and then gone off. So, excuse me. Just some very strange selections there on the bench if you're not going to use them and use them properly. But in terms of the starting side, well, Katoni Staggs, as I said, he is probably under a little bit of pressure in terms of his position. Depending on his report, I haven't seen anything from him, the judiciary, but there was a bad pass, there was 2 missed tackles, there was obviously that rushed up defence tackle as well. So there was a few things there. So look, people are saying maybe we need New South Wales, and I'll say New South Wales, maybe we need some big, powerful, experienced centres to go up to Queensland. Who was that? I don't know. I put out a post today whether it could be Latrell, Could it be Tommy Turbo comes back, although he's been out for a while, Latrell's been out for a while, but they're back for their club sides now. Stephen Crichton, who was out of this game, but he is back for Canterbury this weekend. And maybe even Bradman Best as well. He's played Origin before. He is back for Newcastle this week as well. So the questions will be asked there. Look, I think New South Wales' best players were probably Mark Nawangana-Tuase and Hudson Young, I think. They just tried to spark it a lot. I think probably maybe Mitch Barnett's spot in the team is probably under question as well. Look, a lot of people are saying Brian Toto as well. I'm not 100% sure about that. He did have a better game than Game 1. He had less mistakes than Game 1 in this one. But he is only a great player. Great player. Does take the hard yards from kick returns, but I think just it's a hard thing when you're a short man and you got those crossfield kicks coming at you and those taller wingers having that advantage. So I don't know. Is he under threat if you're going to put Crichton and Travojevic or Mitchell or Best in the centres as a centre combination? Because I think you have to have Tolu Kola in that squad, because I think he went pretty well. Did some hard charges, ran for 96 metres, also 16 tackles as well. But yeah, I just think you just have to think about that one. Hudson Young, well, he played 80 minutes, 16 runs, 123 metres, and 43 tackles as well, 2 behind Reece Robson, who made 45 tackles, only 5 tackles missed from Hudson. Dylan Lucas, I thought he went okay in his debut game, but again, another question being asked is why was Hamoli Olukwatu dropped? Will he come back for game number 3? I don't know. It depends on how he goes for Manly in the next couple of weeks, but you'd have to think you want a big body in there. No disrespect to Dylan Lucas, because he's been playing some great footy of late as well, but I just think maybe Hamoli would have been a better choice. There's been some talk about his kick chases not being the best. Well, I mean, I don't know. But still, I probably would have had Hamoli in this game anyway as well. Do you start Cameron Murray? Is he a starter? Do you put Isaiah Yeo into the front row and Cameron Murray start? Yeah, more than likely, yes. That could be an option as well. Reece Robson, does he keep his starting spot? Does Api Coruscant come in and start? Or does he actually get a game next time around? Who knows? Mitchell Moses, he'll only get better for that run there and a couple of games for Parramatta. And he'll be fit and ready to go. The King of Suncorp, Mitchell Moses. He did it in 2024. Got New South Wales home on that occasion, scored a brilliant individual try. So New South Wales know that he can do it. But it'll be interesting to see if and how many changes New South Wales make. There's a lot of questions about Laurie Daley as well as coach, and his use of the bench. Personally, I don't think he'll be the coach next year of New South Wales. If he wins this game, yeah, potentially he could come back again. But if he does lose this game, I think he might not be the coach next year for New South Wales. It's an interesting one. What do you do if Laurie Daley isn't the coach next year? Do you bring in a seasoned coach who coaches in the NRL? Because we have seen previously I can't remember how long it went back for, but it was a non-NRL coach that was coaching the Blues. So, like Laurie Daley, like Michael Maguire at the time. What do you do? Do you go back to a seasoned coach? Is that what we've got assistant coaches for at clubs? So they can potentially step in. A lot of people are saying Ivan Cleary to come in as New South Wales coach. Well, Ivan is retiring at the end of 2027 from club football, and he's already got that plan in place with Peter Wallace taking over. So I dare say that Ivan Cleary could do the job if he was asked to do the job, because you've got Peter Wallace there, and look, that just gives Peter Wallace a little bit of a heads up and a little bit more experience, I guess, being the head coach, and knowing for what he is going to get himself into. So look, it is a interesting call, but as I said, if New South Wales lose this game up in Queensland, July 8, game number 3, then I don't think, unfortunately, Laurie Daley will be the coach of New South Wales, and I don't think he will be a coach of New South Wales again. This is his second time around. Look, no disrespect to Laurie, because he is New South Wales through and through. He is a great player, captain of New South Wales, one series, and coach as well. He won that one series in 2014, but that was against one of the greatest Queensland sides ever over that 8-year period. So, look, I think that has really hurt Laurie Daley coaching during that period where they were just so dominant, Queensland. I think, unfortunately, I don't think he'll be coach if this game is not won by New South Wales. Excuse me, but it's going to be tough. We know that. Queensland will go into this game as favourites, and no doubt. And look, they'll have their tails up playing at home. Now, July 8, it is a very familiar date. And look, I'm a little bit of a sort of a I wouldn't say a massive superstitious person, but July 8 is actually the day that the first game of State of Origin was ever played, back in 1980. So, look, if that doesn't get the Queenslanders up and running, I don't know what will. I also think it's Mal Meninga's birthday as well on that day as well. Not that Mal is coaching anymore. He's with the Bears, but it's Mal Meninga's birthday on that day as well. But yeah, a little bit of sort of, I guess you could say, not superstitions, but little intricacies to do with that date. So look, it will be tough. As for Queensland, I don't think they'll make any changes. Look, there is a couple of weeks of club football to come, but look, why would you change a winning side? You probably wouldn't. As I said, a couple of weeks of club football to come. You don't know what's going to happen in there. We don't like to see injuries to players, obviously, but it can happen in rugby league. So Reece Walsh, he might find himself on the bench again and not play. But we'll just have to wait and see over the next couple of weeks. I don't think they'll make any changes. They don't need to. They played well. Congratulations, Queensland. You got the win. It is now 1-1 going into Game 3 up at Suncorp Stadium, July 8. This year, not 1980, this year, July 8, which will be Game 3. So, look, there's a lot of things that New South Wales need to work on from now until then, and obviously try and get this result because, as a staunch New South Wales supporter, I'm sick of bloody Queensland winning all the time. I'm sick of it. I'm dead set sick of it. So come on, the Blues, get the victory up at Suncorp. I know it's going to be tough, but look, cannot wait for that. But look, it was a great game, despite the result. Great to see the big crowd down there. Just so disappointing when your state loses. But look, nevertheless, it was a great game. I think, there will be changes to New South Wales in these next couple of weeks. I think to this team, I think there will be. And there just has to be. They have to find a winning formula to get this series victory. I know we won in 2024, but we don't want to see another Queensland dynasty. I know it'll only be 2 years in a row that they've won, but still. So, yes, that is my Game 2 Queensland v New South Wales game review. I hope you enjoyed that one. It's always hard talking about a loss, and that was a big loss. I thought Queensland were going to put 50 on New South Wales. Does the 50-point curse, does that roll over into State of Origin? If a team scores 50 points in State of Origin, which is very rare, I think. I'd have to go over the stats, but does that mean that the other team can't win the series? Does that happen? Let me know, because we all have all the things in NRL, where if a team has 50 points put on them by the opposition, then technically they can't win the comp because they're ruled out, because no team's ever done it. So I wonder if that goes into State of Origin as well. Let me know your thoughts. But look, 3 weeks now, I think it is, until game number 3. I'll keep you updated, and up until then, I'll probably put out another Origin special podcast with some of the former guests that I've had on the show that have played State of Origin. And look, I think game 1 I did New South Wales, and New South Wales won. Game 2 I did a Queensland edition, and Queensland won. So you know what I'm going to do? I might do another New South Wales one, and then New South Wales might win. There's one of those sort of not superstitions, but little intricacy, I guess you could call it. But I might do that. But let me know. Maybe I might do a New South Wales and Queensland one, just to share it up. But we'll just wait and see. But I'll be definitely doing one of those again in the lead up to game number 3. Thank you very much. Please give me a follow on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple. If you give me a follow on those, you will not miss a thing. Share it with your family and friends. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the support as well. The Para Cave podcast, by the fan, for the fans. Go the Blues!
Baytech Recruitment. Baytech Recruitment. Where we're gonna find you the perfect match. All the tradies you can think of in any industry. Look out for a wrapped up Mitsubishi. Fridgie, Sparkies, Bombers Plus. Whatever the trade, just give us a buzz. Baytech Recruitment.
Give us a buzz now.
So give Chris a buzz on 0414 922 272 today.
Thanks for listening to another